Welcome to the 12 stock and crypto portfolio review. Today, I'm just going to go through the 12 stock positions in the 12 portfolio. For those who are watching this for the first time, this is a portfolio I've created of the top seven market cap stocks in the S&P 500, as well as the top market cap cryptocurrencies in the crypto world, creating a 12 position portfolio. It's based on really a line in the sand is my intermediate trend line, which is the 62-day moving average. The trade trend line. So if you're trading these stocks in some way, this is a 15-day period, and then the 200-day, and then I calculate the price projected range that stock could trade in on a daily basis through a price volatility that I've created. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty fun, pretty interesting. If you're looking for a concentrated portfolio that has high potential upside as well as high potential downside, if you decide to hold it, like buy it and hold it forever, which is not the policy of the 12. The 12 is if is above the intermediate trend line and also have a couple other elements, then the stock intermediate to long-term hold. If it is below the intermediate, it gets a 1% allocation. Portfolio get position gets a max allocation of 8%. That way you don't totally blow yourself up if one of the positions just goes south one morning when the market opens. So today I'm going to take you through the 12. We have had some exciting news with Microsoft reporting yesterday. Meta reported, blew out earnings. They were great. Stocks gapped up, and I want to address that today because that is a level of concern. As well as Apple and Amazon both reported tonight, which is Thursday the 1st. And they didn't fare so well, which is going to create some interesting dynamics on Friday morning when the market opens. So let's get to it. So first off, we have Microsoft here, um, closed on Wednesday at was it $395 and opened on day at $431 and closed out the day at 420. So it didn't hold its highs, opening high, and it closed at the bottom of the range. You can see this massive gap between Wednesday and Thursday. Just remember, gaps get filled. They always get filled. This is the 200 here. You can see there's a level of sellers here in this area where it hit and then retreated and closed below. It is above the 200. It is above the intermediate and it is above the trade trend line. So technically, it gets an 8% allocation as of today. But I would encourage extreme caution here because you've got this massive gap. Tesla is another one. This may come out of the portfolio. I got to decide that tonight and be replaced by Berkshire Hathaway possibly. But it is close to below the intermediate trend line. It is close below the 200-day trend line, which is that red line, and it is above the trade trend line. So it doesn't get any more than a 1% allocation right now. Amazon today closed out the day below the intermediate trend, below the 200, and below just above the trade trend line. It wouldn't get a allocation of more than 1% based on my approach. Let's see if we can add something here. So Amazon reported earnings. The market didn't like them. And after the market closed, it was in extended hours trading down around $184. So that drops it back down towards the trade trend line. That's not really encouraging from one of the biggest retail providers in the world. So you can read about the earnings and what happened, what they ran into in the newsletter just above this video. When we look at Apple, Apple also closed out to the day on a positive note, but it's still below the 200, below the intermediate trend line, and below the or above the trade trend line. But they also had some issues with earnings, and they are trading down around right around the trade trend line right now in extended hours. When you look at NVIDIA here, NVIDIA gapped up today as well. Let's see, we're going to spread this out a little bit for you. Opened up or closed out the day on Wednesday at 100 or 108, opened the day up at 113, closed out the day at 111. It's up against the intermediate trend line below the 200, and it's got a sellers here. It's where some sellers typically at. Sorry, my internet's glitching on me. Um, and so this is one of those things that chances are this gap will get filled at some point in the very near future. They don't report earnings until the 28th of May, so we got a while there. So I'm watching that. I'm actually personally short this stock because I think it has more of a price target in the between 75 and $85 range. And I think that'll be a great fundamental PE number, right? Just around 20 or so would be sweet place to buy. And I think where the momentum's going into video, I think that's where it's headed. Google had good earnings, had a big day back last week, but has pulled back towards the trade trend line as of Wednesday. Today it closed up from there, but it's still below the intermediate trend, below the 200 and above the trade. If you're trading this, could be a move towards the intermediate trend line of 167.45, but be cautious. Just look at the overall market and what it's doing prior to making a decision on what Alphabet's going to do or Google. Meta gapped up, as you can see here, closed the day on Wednesday at 549, gapped up to as high as 592 and some change, closed out the day at 572. Couldn't hold those below the intermediate trend, but well, actually just closed below the 200 today and above the trade. So gaps get filled. Just remember that. They always get filled. So keep that in mind. All right, let's go to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's been on a run, but it's got a resistance level up here. You can see where sellers have been in the past. It's up at around 96. It's above the 200, above the intermediate, and above the trade. So it is a strong allocation. Look at the chart below in the newsletter for exactly how much. But just take into account this is where that wall of resistance is up around 100, and I think I have a price tag of 104 on it on the top side. So it could make it up into the mid range, but there is sellers in that area. When I look at Binance, we're still below the 200. We're fiddling around with the intermediate trend and trend line. It doesn't, I would be cautious here. Solano, below the 200, above the trade, above the intermediate, so it is moving, progressing higher. It does get a increase in allocation. Look at the chart. And then Ripple above the 200, sitting just under the intermediate trend line and above the trade trend line. So there's a lot of sellers in this area. So that's where it's running into a resistance level. So be cautious there. And then Ethereum below the 200, below the intermediate trend, and above the trade trend line, could make a breakout here towards the upper, was right around, just rounded up to $2,000 a share. But it's, hit the intermediate trend line today and is sitting just under it right now. Watch your MACDs, watch your relative strength, build a process. Let's take a look at Berkshire because I'm going to make a decision if we're going to add that in. Berkshire, this is just consistency at its best. And I think the thing I like about it is it's so diverse. It has insurance companies. It's got Brooks Shoes. It's got Railroad. It's got everything. They just got into Pilot gas stations. So they're very diverse. And I think in an environment like this, you're looking for companies that are diversified. They're not so highly concentrated. So one thing to definitely have in oil is above the 200, above the intermediate trend, and is above the trade trend. So we're seeing positivity there. Use the MACD in this case, and it's still it has a it's about to trade turn higher, but we'll see here soon. So this is the how I divide this out between the equity side, the crypto side. I also track um, the VIX because that's very important to volatility. Right now, we're in this chop bucket area, and this is where markets just bing, 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 bing like ping pongs. You have three levels, and you can see that in the news. Um, uh, the investable bucket, which is typically below 19, between say 19 and 27. That's chop bucket. That's where things just bounce around a lot. That's what we're seeing right now. And then you have the F bucket, which I have to give credit to Hedge Eye for that. And they're above, and that's above the 27. That's when volatility is spiking. That's when we saw the tariffs implemented and all that. And that's when markets sold off big time. So I use volatility to determine risk as well. As you can see here, allocation, it's calculated based on different factors that I've created. And as you can see, we've got a pretty full list of allocation in the crypto space. And Microsoft today just went positive with an 8% allocation. But like I said, it gapped up. Watch that gap. Be careful of that. So you may want to give it tomorrow, which is Friday the 2nd, and wait into the next week because you never know what's going to happen over the weekend. Be careful there. But ultimately, we want to see a full allocation of 8% in each position. And when that happens, that's when we have a bull market. That's when things move higher. We have the daily price ranges, the low end and the high end that the stock could trade in. It's pretty darn accurate. It's pretty interesting how we today the high end on the video was about 112. It closed below it. Amazing. Um, pat on my back, pat on the back a little bit on that. Spent 5 years trying to figure this thing out. But anyhow, but I look at the day to day, if the stock is versus the previous day, if it closed lower, if it has a lower low or a lower high, if the high is a higher high or a higher low, we figure that here as well. So that's what we got. You get that every day. Monday through Friday. I'm trying to do a video every day at the end of market close so that we have a review. It's $10 a month. Check it out. The link is in the description and would love to have you join the 12. We also have the Morning Edge, which is a whole lot of fun. 7:30 each morning Central Time, 8:30 Eastern. We do a quick 15, 20-minute swing trading stock view. Mark does that. I do a little bit more macro. I talk more of the bigger picture term and intermediate term investing. And then we open it up and typically open it up to the floor and we've got participation galore. We've got diversified group of people from business owners to retirees to engineers who we just chime in and we go back and forth and we look at these markets on that edge. We introduced it March 3rd, and we started talking about cash, 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 cash. And it has paid off for a lot of our subscribers. We're now just on a swing trading or short-term trading standpoint. We're just dipping our toes in the water. But tomorrow will be interesting conversation. So Freebie Friday, I'm going to have a link in the description that you can click and join us tomorrow. The Morning Edge is $10 a month. We're going to keep it there for a while because we are in a recessionary environment. We want to make sure you can participate for inexpensive. I call it, it's costing you basically a latte and a half. And depending on where you live, it's probably less than a latte. So that's what you got. I'm Trent Grinkmeyer. This is the 12 Morning Edge Best of US Investors. Check us out. Click the link below, learn more about us. Join us on a Freebie Friday tomorrow. We'd love to have you. A lot to discuss. Take care. subscribe to the 12, it is $10 as well. Take care and have a great day. Peace. Live loud.